Hey, it's Tim with AK Endless Sports Cards. So, it's been a busy day today. You saw the golf footage. That did stay in play, by the way. Didn't shoot the best, but had a lot of fun. We were doing the Red Fox golf course in Gwin, Michigan. And now we are on the hiking trail to Hogback Mountain in Marquette, Michigan. And so I've never been here before. So there are a lot of mosquitoes, and I'm not big on bug dope. So let the swatting begin. But excited to do another video. So here we go. Alright, so I'm going to have to look down quite a bit here because there's a lot of roots and rocks and stuff like that, so I really don't want to face plant on video. That wouldn't be a lot of fun. Continuing along with the trend about the National. So, you know, a topic that some people are really uncomfortable with is trading. Like trading cards with dealers or other collectors. So I've been trading for years. I've done a lot in the past on the Blowout Cards forum and had a lot of success there. I haven't really had a lot of bad experiences with trading. When it comes to the National, I mentioned in a previous video that I think it's wise to bring cards to trade for sure. But I wanted to talk about some really specific things pertaining to trading. So if you don't feel super comfortable with it, maybe you need to kind of think about some of these things and ultimately make up your own mind. But I'll kind of go through a handful of things and, let me know in the comments what you think, or if you have any additional ideas on things that I missed. So it's going to be our topic tonight. All right. Get the ball rolling. Number one. Okay, so when you go to the National, you're going to have dealers that will advertise, whether it be on Blowout, maybe they'll even have signs up at their booth, that they will pay a certain percentage to buy your cards. So most of these dealers won't buy just anything. What they'll do is they'll have an employee or employees that are there to look at your cards, kind of evaluate what you got, and then they'll make you an offer. In my experience, most of these percentages are somewhere between like 70 or 80% of eBay comps, so eBay sales. They usually take an average of like 4 or 5 of the most recent sales, and then they'll offer you somewhere between 70 and 80%. And there can be some variance there. Some dealers might offer less, some might offer a little bit more. Depends on what it is. Some dealers don't look to buy a lot of rare stuff, because there's no comps. So there's a lot of dealers though at the National that do look to buy. What I've noticed though is that you tend to get better values in many cases when you're trading, because oftentimes these dealers are buying those cards that you're interested in at 70% of comps, and so they're more inclined to maybe give you more in trade value because the cards that you're trading for they don't have as much money into, if that makes sense. So in terms of trading versus selling, if a dealer has a card that you want, you might actually get a better value by potentially trading up. So by trading your card or cards plus cash to get into a bigger card. So something to think about. Don't go to the National thinking that you're going to bring cards that that you can't sell on eBay because they're not very desirable and stuff. Dealers aren't going to want to buy a lot of those, and they're not going to want to buy a lot of lower end stuff. Generally speaking, at the show, there are some dealers that buy cheaper autographs, jerseys, and things like that. Some dealers will buy that or give you credit in terms of those. But something to think about in terms of trade values if you're wanting to trade up on certain cards. So, second point. So, determining values when you're trading. So it's interesting because if you're trading with a dealer, they want to get the best value possible that's going to allow them to make the most amount of money. And of course, when you're bringing your cards there, you want the same. You want to get the best value for your money. So my second point is values aren't always scientific. It's not always super clear cut as to what these cards are actually worth. If you got stuff that's pretty rare, sorry, I had to take a look at my note here real quick. So think about this for a second. If you have a card that's numbered to 10 and the last one sold for $150, in my opinion, that doesn't mean that yours is only worth $150. Because if I can't go on eBay and buy another one, in my mind, the value is actually higher than that 125. Because the saying goes, like, if you can't agree to a price, or if somebody thinks your price too high, you'll go back to comps and you can come up with arguments for that. But with the rare stuff, I don't know, that kind of goes out the window. Like, I recently bought a Prism 10 Giannis insert, PSA 9. I think I put that in a previous video. I bought that for $150. And I think it's worth more than that. I think it's worth $200, $250 to me. So I would not trade that card at $150. You could find comps that sell in that range. But if somebody said, well, the last one sold for $150, so why do you think yours is worth $250? My counter to that is, well, you probably should have bought that one that sold for $150 because now there's none available. So it's kind of the counter. Once you have a comp in place, if there's no more available, that price value is actually probably higher than what that other one had sold for, especially on stars. I've noticed that to be a pretty common trend, actually, when it comes to the rare stuff of stars. So those are my first 2 points. Point 3, when you go to the National, you don't have to just trade and make deals with the dealers. 2 years ago, I don't think they ever released the numbers as far as how many people attended. I don't know if they ever released the official numbers. They usually release ranges, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I think they sold between 80 and 100,000 tickets. So it tells you there's a lot of people that go to this event. If you can't make what you think are good deals with dealers, there's all kinds of other people there that have cards with them that you can look to purchase, or you can look to trade with those individuals. Now, you got to use some common sense. Sorry, the bugs are really bad tonight. You got to use some common sense. Don't buy stuff from another, attendee at a dealer's table. You don't do stuff like that. But there's a VIP room if you have a VIP pass. There's trade nights at the hotels. You can get on blowout card forum. Communicate with people that way. There's always threads of things that people, what people are looking for, etc. There's all kinds of other opportunities where you might be able to get much better values when trading your cards, or potentially even selling them, I guess. But the focus of this video is on trading, so something to consider there too. Go into this knowing what you're looking for, even if it's not particular cards. What types of things are you looking for? This will help keep you focused. Whether you have a big budget, little budget, somewhere in between. I think mine, I said in the last video, mine's somewhere in between. You gotta have a general idea of what you're looking for, so you don't get distracted off some of those goals that you have in place and then run short on resources when you find other things that you really want. I try to make sure I have a decent budget left for Saturdays and Sundays so I don't run out of resources when I inevitably find some other things that I'm interested in. Don't forget about that whatever budget too. I use about a quarter of my budget on stuff that isn't on my list. So, be thinking about it like, are you looking to buy cards of established people, players? Are you looking for, prospects, etc.? Just have a general idea of what you're looking for. two last points. When you're looking to trade, there's two things you want to do. When you're trading your cards, you want to maximize value jumps. I gave the example in the last video. I had about $30 in that Soto card. When it hit like $300, I traded it for, a third-year Jordan PSA 9 and kind of locked in that value. So I always look to, and my suggestion would be look for those value jumps and try to maximize those when you're looking to trade. And then maybe something to consider as well, try to, when you're looking at cards that you want to trade for, try to get cards that have had value drops at the same time. So you're wanting to max out the values of the things that you're trading, and maybe you want to focus on some things that have dropped in value that you want to get in return. So with certain sports, off seasons, there's price drops. So maybe when it's in the off season, you look to trade basketball for football or football for basketball or whatever the case may be. So you want to maximize those things so you can get, the most value for the cards that you are looking to trade. So maximize those value jumps and maximize those value losses, especially for those established players. Sometimes those cards of players drop for really no reason. That's the time to take a look at maybe getting those into your collection, even if it's temporarily and you want to trade them when they go back up in value. So some things to think about. So we're on this hike. Make it up to the top here tonight. Might get some bonus footage at the end of this video. If we don't, hope that everybody's week is going well. Happy Thursday to everybody. Happy Friday Eve. And remember that the opportunities for collecting sports cards are endless. All right, we hiked to the top of Hogback Mountain here in Marquette, Michigan. So I have officially been to the top of the mountain, and it is good. Bonus coverage for the AK Endless Sports Card channel tonight. It's windy up here, so if the audio is not perfect, forgive me. But yeah, this is the very top of Hogback. We had a pretty full day. Golfed today and decided to go for a hike. We've been hiking every evening. I've been enjoying making these sports card videos for YouTube and just enjoying life. So with that said, hope everybody has a great night and life is good. Well, I have some final unexpected bonus coverage for you. We were coming back from our hike on Hogback Mountain in Marquette, and we got lost, and we ended up in a swamp. And so we had to kind of trudge through the swamp, and thankfully my cell phone picked up the map, and we were able to find a road, and an extra hour back, we're safe and sound. So got a little scary, got a little sketchy. If you ever go to Marquette, Michigan, and go to Hogback Mountain, I'd recommend going there during the day. And just thankful that we're okay. So just wanted to kind of throw this last part in there because it did get a little scary at the end. But hey, the opportunities for collecting sports cards are still endless.